1112, if anybody's counting. If you're joining me live, please say hello. If you end up watching the recorded version, please also feel welcome to say hello. I get notified of all those comments throughout the day as well. And what else? There's lots to share this morning. If you're already on my mailing list, you got an email from me with lots of exciting things going on. Well, at least two. And we'll talk about them here today too, but let's wait a few minutes for people to pop over from pre-chat and notifications. If you are new to my channel, I'm here live a couple days a week doing the podcast. I share tutorial videos all the time as well. And if you like my content, if you like crochet tutorials and knit tutorials and live Q&As and all the other wonderful things that I share over the course of my 18-year career in the knit and crochet world, please consider subscribing to my channel. And anytime you like a video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment and let me know if you have questions or comments or would like to know more information about anything that I share. I've got a lot of information in my head and all I like to do is share it with all of you. So if you're new to the live stream show that I do in the morning here, it is live. I'm here live in Southwest Florida, and you can join the pre-chat up to 30 minutes before the live stream starts. Once the live stream is going, you can continue to chat, and that's how I have conversations with everybody, and that's how I'm able to answer questions live every day as well. It's really, thank you, YouTube. This is so much fun. We've been doing it a long time, 1,112 episodes to be exact. I do believe we lost a few episodes a couple years ago at one point, but who cares? 1,112 is not too shabby either. Let's see, who is here? Yes, my screen. I've had this screen for a very long time. In fact, there is even a video tutorial here on YouTube where I show how I made it. We'll have to look for that though. I don't recall where it is. I didn't think to look it up this morning. But I thought it would make the RV studio look a little more professional and a little more like a real studio. And which reminds me of something, but we'll get back to that. And it really is a scrapbook of my fabrics and yarns. So I love the colors. I love the fact that it's so many different things that I've made over the years and a way for me to display so many things that I've made. For those of you that aren't aware, not only am I knit and crochet designer, author, and all that stuff, but I'm also an illustrator and an artist, and a lot of my fabric creations are made, or all of my fabric creations are made with my hand-drawn and illustrated artwork that I upload to Spoonflower and other websites that do print-on-demand products too, like Redbubble. But if you are a sewer or a quilter, you can get all of my fabrics in my Spoonflower shop as well. Pretty cool. I love to draw. It's probably my first passion for in the craft world. I have been drawing since I could hold a crayon, I suppose. All right, who is here today? Hi, Angela and Sunshine, Joe, Thea, Judy, Joe, Donna, Elizabeth, Judy, Sharon. Got lots of people here today. If you're joining me live and you're too shy to say hello, that's okay too. It's okay. There's no wrong way to join us here. It is a very safe and loving and warm community. We've got lots of moderators to make sure things stay clean and on the up and up, because, you know, that's just the world we live in nowadays. Oh, Judy found the video. That's awesome, Judy. Thank you. So Judy's sharing a link right now for the video tutorial where I show you how I made this room divider. You could do it with any room divider and just use those little squares to put whatever you want in there. And I just really love the fact that I did it so many years ago, because it is a cherished keepsake for me now, because it represents my beginning fabrics and beginning yarns. So, and it looks great in here too. And it folds up nicely, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of room, which is important when you live in an RV. That's great, Angela. That's all right, Chris. Hi, Dawn. Good morning. So if anybody was around on YouTube this morning, you may have already seen that I released a new pattern today, and I released a new video tutorial for it too. And if you haven't had a chance to look at it, yet this is the Iona Crochet Shawl, yes, named with the same name as the draped cardi vest I released last week. Reason being, I used the same stitch pattern but converted it differently so that we could do a top-down increasing shawl. It is a 2-row repeat. Easy as the day is long, and worsted weight yarn, a K hook, 6.5 millimeter if you like metric. So easy, so fast, so beautiful, and the pattern comes with chart and written instructions, and the video tutorial is live on YouTube now too. I did live premiere it this morning, but now that it's published, you can watch it anytime you want, and just great for a gift, great for yourself. And you know, today and over the next few times we talk about it, we can talk about different ways to modify it as well. I thought it would be fun to talk about different ways you could use crochet power to edgings, to find an edging to edge it. However, because this stitch pattern has a beautiful scallop, you don't have to add edging either. We can also talk about ways you can add beads, or where I would suggest to add beads. You could do this in colors, you could do it as a stash buster, and there are some tips and tricks for those things. So I am definitely opening the floor to anybody that wants to ask about that. But wait, there's more. There's another announcement today, and this is a big one too. Holidays are right around the corner, and I have teamed up with 41 other top crochet designers to release a holiday craft bundle of 45 holiday themed patterns. Are you ready for this? And it is 90% off for the next 5 days, and there are going to be daily prizes. There's the link. Will that go through? Maybe. Judy shared the link to my blog post that will tell you all the details about it, and I just shared the link to the direct download of it because it's not on my website. Again, it's not all my patterns. I am part of 41 top crochet designers that are all they're all putting together in this bundle an amazing collection of 45 holiday patterns. It would cost you well over $200 to buy the patterns on their own, but they're 90% off this week in the bundle. In the bundle, you get all 45 patterns, plus you get a chance to win prizes every single day, sponsored by We Crochet. They're offering mystery bags of yarn and gift cards to their shop. All those details are on my blog post, and you can see that at the link that Judy provided. Great way to get a head start on the holidays for sure. Does anybody have any questions about that? Hi, Nikki. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Lori. Hi, Janet. So I've discovered that Publix usually has any given brand of kombucha on sale every given week in their BOGOs. And so I'm not picky, so I buy whichever one is on sale. And I've been getting kombucha to drink every morning. I really like it as a probiotic, and I know it's an acquired taste to some people, but gosh, I love it so much. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking this morning. I know sometimes people like to see what I'm drinking, so that's that. How pretty does this shawl look with my flower pin? Oh my goodness, I'm wearing a purple dress with the pink. Oh, so cute. Anyway, let me show you the shawl a little bit closer. So there it is. So, so, so beautiful. I'll show it up close so you can see the stitch pattern. Is that close enough? And you know what's interesting is I remember last week when I released the Iona draped cardi vest pattern, some people complained that they couldn't see the stitch pattern very well. Well, it was a crochet design challenge piece that was voted on, right? And the color of yarn that was chosen for it was a teal, green, blue. And so, you know, in a darker color, a stitch pattern that's pretty close together like that just isn't going to show up in like modeled photos. It'll only show up in close-up photos. But what's nice is that when you do a lighter color like this, the light reflects on it a lot better, especially with a dark color underneath. You get that higher contrast. You can see the stitch pattern a little better. So keep that in mind when you're choosing colors to make something too. Is it more important to have a color aesthetic for the style of accessory that you want? Or is it more important to you to showcase the stitch pattern and the texture of your handwork? Because color does matter when it comes to things like that, especially in a closed stitch pattern like this. When you're doing lace work that has a lot of negative space or open work, then the color that you wear underneath it can be high contrast and work very well for showing off stitch patterns. But when you do a closed stitch pattern like this, it becomes more important to decide what's the most important feature to you. Do you want to see the stitch pattern, or is the color the most important thing? With this one, both. Thanks, Holy Hummer. Yes, if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. Then you'll be first to know when I release new, exciting, fun things, or I have contests, or whatever. Sometimes timing is everything, right? Let's see. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Barbara and Thea. I'm glad you guys like it. Yeah, it's fun to make things in worsted weight yarn. You know, there's a time and a place for everything, and for many years I've said there's a yarn and a project for everything too. And there's a time and a place for luxury fibers, there's a time and a place for budget fibers, there's a time and a place for lace weight, and there's a time and a place for super bulky yarn. And you know what? I like all of them, and I like all of them for different reasons. But worsted weight is not only a fun weight to work in for speed, but it's also a great place to start if you're trying something new. Lori, great question. Yes, if you made 2 triangles, you can make a square. Where is my board? Let's see if I can find the board. There's the board. Oh, but am I gonna find a pen? That will be the next question. I may not be set up for doing this today. I'm not set up for doing that today, but I do have a notebook so I could draw real quick. Thanks, Karen. I made this screen many years ago, and I saved it when I moved and put it in storage, and decided that it was condensed enough and could pack up condensed enough that it might be a good idea for here in the RV studio. Okay, so I'm going to draw 2 triangles. This isn't a great pen either. You know you write a lot when all of your pens run out of ink at the same time. Like, I literally need to buy pens right now. I'm all out of ink in all of my pens. Crazy. Okay, so that would be one of the triangle shawls up here, right? And here would be the second one. If you decided to sew where I put these squiggly lines here, guess what? We've got a poncho. We could be a poncho with a point in the front. It could be a poncho that has points on the sides. Doesn't matter. We did this with the, yes, Bjorn is here. You can see his little bit of fluff, right? I'll turn the camera down for a second. You can see he's sleeping. Who's the baby? Oh, who's the baby? I put this pink blanket up here, and this is his new favorite daytime home. Oh, also, if you don't want to sew this to make it permanent, you could corset tie these too. Again, we did this on the Easy Breezy shawl a couple months ago. You absolutely could do this temporarily with corset ties, just doing long crochet chains, maybe put some tassels on the ends of them, or you could do this permanently by sewing them. Or you could only sew one side and leave the other side open, and then you've got like a ruana or a cape as well. So when you take 2 triangles, you can do all sorts of things with this. So you can make 2 of these and do that. Okay, we said we'd talk about color work, and we said we'd talk about edging, which brings me to another point. So a little bit of math was worked on this weekend, and guess what I discovered? Crochet Power 1 with 19 stitch patterns worked in 4 different construction styles with over 100 dimensions for different types of projects you can make with all of those 4 construction styles. It's a really powerful resource book on its own, okay? Crochet Power 2 Edgings has over 100 edgings in it that are organized by construction style and also by stitch multiple, which is an amazingly powerful resource on its own as well. Combined together, Crochet Power 1 and Crochet Power 2, I did the guesswork on the first show, but not everybody watched there, so I'm going to say it again. Does anybody want to guess what the math possibilities are? How many project possibilities there are when you combine both of these books? 19 stitch patterns, 4 construction styles, over 100 project dimensions, and 100 edgings. Does anybody want to guess what the math came out precisely for that? How many projects could you possibly make with just these 2 books? Nope, Thea, that's high. Melanie, nope, that's low. Dawn, 100 times 100 is just the beginning. Then there's 19 times 4 also. So I did the math. It's 150,010 projects. How's that for a value? You can buy both of these books in paperback form on my website. If you buy it on my website, they get autographed and personalized to you from me. They also are available as instant download PDF books on my website. And if that's not enough, you could also order them on Amazon all over the world in whatever country you live in. And you can order them as paperback books from Amazon, or you can order them as digital ebooks there as well. Isn't that great? You may not have that much time DIY fiber and rainbow, but it means that there's probably something that you would love in there. If there are 150,000 plus options, I'm sure there's something for everybody in there. I love how cute the covers match too. I'm so proud of these books, and it's just the beginning. I do intend to continue on with the Crochet Power series. This is just book 1 and 2, and the books will always coordinate together because I really think it's important to empower crocheters, empower all creative people to embrace their own creative spirit. And I think it's just wonderful that, and so that's 150 project possibilities without needing a single pattern. Amazing. And I'm telling you, that's for people that are experienced, that's for people that are beginners, people that are intermediate. Doesn't matter. You can mix and match so many different things with that. If we have time today, I thought it would be fun to browse through Crochet Power 2 Edgings while looking at this shawl, so I can show you how you would navigate the book to find an edging that would work for it. I think any of the edgings in Chapter 2 Fringe would be amazing, like the crochet flower fringe edgings would just be absolutely gorgeous on this. Any of the fringes though. And then the other thing that would be a no-brainer would be looking at the top-down edgings, and also the side perpendicular edgings would work very well if you wanted to use a bottom-up construction edging on a piece that was top-down. You would just need to join them together as you go, like you join motifs together as you go. So any of them would still work. It's just a matter of how you want to go about doing it. Do you want to continue on right from without cutting your yarn? Do you want to go in a separate direction, or do you want to go in a completely different direction? Let's see. So let's see if anybody has any questions before I move on. You want to see something cute? Oh, look at the baby. He says, yes, a belly rub sounds like a good idea. And chinny chin chin scratch? Sure. Sure. Oh, good. Not good, Janet. I'm not happy that you're flustered when choosing edgings, but I think it's going to really help if I open the book and lay down the shawl. I'll do an overhead shot with another tripod, and we can try doing that today. Yeah, I guess we'll try doing that right now. Move my computer out of the way. Oh yes, there's nothing I like better than rubbing Bjorn's belly when he's in the mood for it. Absolutely. Okay, so let's move this turn this around. We'll put it in here. Let's just make sure this is working. That looks pretty good so far. All right, we'll lay the shawl down. It's just great for you to be able to see the top-down construction too. So we did a treble crochet shell in the center here just to make sure we got a nice point on the triangle, and then the rest of these shells are in double crochet. I highly recommend going back and watching the tutorial video. Not only do I show you how easy it is to make this shawl, but I do point out a couple of really interesting components of the pattern that make it very easy to stay on track and know what you're doing. What am I wearing in my hair? I'm wearing an orchid flower clip that you can find in my Amazon shop. Okay, so let's look at the bottom row here. So this stitch pattern ends up being a multiple of 6, right? So we've got our single crochet and our 5 doubles. So it is a multiple of 6 stitches. However, you could even consider looking at multiples of 5 stitches in the edging book, because we could skip those single crochets if we were doing something that was quite elaborate or quite full. And so let's open up the book with the edging showing. Let's see if I can get both of these on camera. Okay, the edging will stay on this side and we'll open up the book here. So first I wanted to point out that the first no-brainer section to me would be the fringe construction, which is chapter 2. I think any of these would be absolutely spectacular. So the Daphne edging here is the first one that I thought of. It's worked over a multiple of 5 stitches, okay? Which means you could do that over the 5 double crochets here. Let's see if we can get that all on camera. But you could also modify that and just work 6 double crochets. Work 1 in the single and work 1 in the 5, and then do your fringe. Like, that's an easy fix. What's the name of what pattern? The shawl? The shawl is the Iona crochet shawl pattern. It's been linked in the live chat, and it will be linked in the video description as well. Okay, so that one would be a no-brainer. Absolutely gorgeous at the end of the shawl. I think I'm partial because I've already done it in pink. But here's the other thing I was thinking. Any of these fringes might be really interesting done in Mother Nature's color palette. If we're using a floral color for the shawl, what about doing a leaf color for the edging? What if we did one of these fringes in a green? Wouldn't that be really nice too? Any of these would be gorgeous though, any. And again, even though that's a 4-stitch repeat here, you could easily just make that 5 double crochets to work over all 5 of these shells. That would not make a big difference at all. Instead, and even something like this, see how full this one is? You could decide to work this one over every 2 stitches instead of every 1 stitch. It's full when worked over 2. What if you did a double crochet in between each piece, then double crochet, then fringe? You could do that as well. But this, I thought this one would be really pretty on there too. But any of them, even the twisted fringe, any of those would be great. So with what I was saying is that any of the perpendicular edgings would be fine. You would just have to work back and forth this way, and that's also another option. And then you have all of these options available to you, okay? You got all these scallops and flowers and so many beautiful, a razor edge would be cool, and you would just slip stitch to join as you work that along the lower edge in the perpendicular fashion. Let me go, let's see. Oh my goodness, so many edgings, so many edgings. And notice how they all have charts as well, and they all have multiples. Okay, and then we come to the top-down construction edgings, which is definitely, this would be your really intuitive chapter to go to when you're doing a top-down construction shawl. You're doing a top-down construction, you would go to top-down edgings. And then they are organized by 1-row repeats if you want to do something simple and color-coded, 2-row repeats, also color-coded, and then multi-row repeats here, which are also color-coded. See how they're they're similar colors but different. It's because I wanted to differentiate. So each chapter is differentiated by color, but then that top-down construction is the largest chapter, so I differentiated it as well with 3 more color comparisons. But that's not all. There's another component to this that makes it super, super, super easy to be able to look for something. Okay, so in the bottom-up construction, I've organized the stitch patterns in the index by the multiple. So if you're looking for a specific type of multiple, there's your go-to to even narrow down that chapter as well. The fringe construction, here is the multiples organized in the index, so you can narrow down those even more. And perpendicular construction, most of those are not worked over a multiple because they're just worked side to side perpendicularly, and we can talk about that in another episode of the show to explain that more, but meaning they can be worked over just about anything. And then top down construction, I've organized these by multiples too. There's everything from a multiple of 1 to a multiple of 30. So whatever works for whatever type of project you're working on, this is very, very, very valuable information. So we're talking about doing a 5 or 6 row repeat. We could start just with those here. And if that's not enough, there's another section in the front of the book, and this is where I talk about how you can create corner fullness without having to modify the edging stitch patterns. And there's 2 super duper easy ways to do that. And you'll want to read this section as well, and I'll do a tutorial video on that as well. And that's so that you can add extra repeats of the pattern in your corners for shaping without having to modify your stitch pattern, which is a big deal because it does take a higher level of skill to know how to modify a stitch pattern, whereas adding the fullness in a setup row is super, super, super easy. The other thing that we talked a little bit about this in the live chat during the Shawls video premiere this morning. You can also add edgings to any other fabrics. And here is a step-by-step photo tutorial of how to add a blanket stitch to any fabric, whether you want to buy a store-bought baby blanket or a piece of fleece fabric to work crochet edging on to make lovey blankets for babies. All sorts of ways, and you can do this for Afghans too, or even something you want to wear, anything. So you start by making the blanket stitch to then crochet a setup row onto there, and then you can create your edging from there. So talk about a time saver. My goodness, you don't have to make the full pad, you don't have to make the full fabric, you just have to do the edging. Another great time saver for quick handmade gifts. All right, so I think that's all we needed to go over from the book this morning, but we'll continue to go over really exciting details of the book as it makes sense for whatever we're talking about and doing. And let's see if anybody has any questions though. I'll get my shawl back on. Irma's making Barbie doll dresses for her 2 granddaughters. That sounds so fun. Cool. Yeah, working edgings on shirts, working edgings on shawls. You could even just buy a rectangular fabric or a rectangular shawl in a store and do that as well. Some really thin fabrics don't need that setup row of the blanket stitch. If you have a really sharp crochet hook, or you're using an awl or some other tool where you can stab the fabric, then you don't need that setup row. But for anything else, that setup row will work for, you notice how the photos in there was actually something that was hemmed? That's really thick fabric, so you wouldn't want to try to crochet through that. So using a sharp sewing needle is a much better way with a blanket stitch. And you don't have to use sewing thread. You can buy yarn needles that are sharp like sewing needles, but still have a large eye like a yarn needle. Let's see, I think I have one handy here. Let's see. Sorry, baby Bjorn, I don't mean to interrupt nap time. Here's one of them. You can find these in my Amazon shop. So this is a yarn needle because it has the large eye for yarn, but it's still sharp like a sewing needle. And this works fabulous for adding a blanket stitch to any thick fabric before wanting to add a crochet edging to it. Yep, crochet thread on hankies and pillowcases, wonderful. A very old-fashioned traditional style of crochet on fabric. It's been around forever, and it's just the beginning. And you can still do that. You can still do that, but you can add it to anything too. I mean, I've done videos where I've cut t-shirts and then added crochet onto them. So many different ways you can embellish with crochet beyond just crocheting the entire project. You can combine crochet with anything else. Take a knit fabric. You can make a knit fabric and then add a crochet edging to it as well. Or make something that you've actually sewn, like a quilt, and add a crochet edging. I still want to do that with my quilt that I made in these Day of the Dragonfly fabrics. That was my first fabric collection that I designed and came out with. Yes, Dawn, those sheer chiffon scarves with my artwork on Redbubble are a wonderful way to add crochet embellishment, whether you keep them as a shawl or turn them into ruanas or other things, or sarongs. I've done several patterns on that in several books. You can find them. There is a category of crochet pattern on my website where you can exclusively look at crochet on fabric patterns. Let's see if I can find that really quickly. Let's see, I'm going to go to, we'll look at crochet. I do have some in knitting as well, but I have more crochet on fabric patterns than I have knit on fabric patterns. But you can do both. I just happen to have done more in, I have 11 patterns here, it looks like. Hold on one second, I'll get you the link. And if you have my book, 80 Crochet Gifts, there you can find both the knit and crochet on fabric techniques. They're the same. You would just still use that blanket stitch to create the fabric, to create a place to begin. And then if you're knitting it, you would pick up and knit into each of those blanket stitches. If the stitches are too wide for your gauge, you would knit one yarn over or knit into the front and back. There's several ways you can add the right amount of stitches to create the fullness and the gauge that you need. Thank you, Trudy. This is Lady Slippers colorway in Knit Picks Brava worsted yarn. It took 3 balls to make this shawl. I will share the link with you right here. And there we go. All right, does anybody have any other colors? I feel like we went over a lot today, but it was so fun. Just have to get started, that's it. And then I can just go on and on. Not Bjorn, he's sleepy. Oh, it's raining in Southern California. That's okay. Rain's good too, and means for a nice cozy day if you have the chance to knit and crochet and stay inside. Yes, Linda, a knit cardigan with crochet edging. Perfect. Yes, you can combine them. There's no wrong way to be creative if you like the results you're getting. And there are no rules. Something doesn't have to be 100% knit. Something doesn't have to be 100% crochet. You can mix and combine whatever you like anytime you want. Yes, Lori, absolutely you could do a crochet edge on knit fabric. In fact, there is, in that front section of the Crochet Power 2 Edgings book, I do have a photo and an explanation of that. Here we go. Here we go. There's a knit fabric with crochet edging on it, and I talk all about it in this front matter. So like I said, not only do you get 100 edgings in here with charts, with written instructions, with multiples, and indexed by multiples along with everything else, but this front matter is worth its weight in gold. There is so much information in here about how to use edgings and how to apply them to different types of projects. It's really amazing. All right, I don't see any other questions, so that's it for today. If you are new and haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel so you can be first to know when I release new tutorial videos or share new exciting things. Don't forget about the Holiday Craft Bundle, 90% off for 5 days only, 5 gifts, or 5 prizes being given, sponsored by We Crochet, and every day that you have been entered, if you don't win, you get rolled over to the next day's prizes. So you have lots of ways to win that as well. 90% off is a huge savings for a holiday craft bundle. I also released a new pattern with charts and a new tutorial video today. So you've got those to go check out. What else? And Let's take a moment. Over 150,000 possibilities with Crochet Power 1 and Crochet Power 2. Ways that you can empower your creative spirit without needing a pattern. How amazing is that? And that's not including adding things to other types of projects. So wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to spend a few minutes with me. I hope you enjoyed all of the information I shared today. Bjorn's little cameos, chatting with me and everyone else. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.